start. Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk. My name is Ian Utile. I'm here with Nigel, Ted, Malachi, Dan, and Gary. And we're here in La Salva Beach, California at 13:40 a.m. It's KOMY, home of Schoolhouse Radio. And this is our 1-hour program. This is day number 3 of our new radio program for the 6 of us to do. And we always like to start with some vision casting, talk a bit about our optimistic view of the future. Then you can expect us to come back, talk a bit about AI. We'll share different ways that we're using that technology. Our third segment is on blockchain, all things Web3. And finally, we'll bring up some old past stories at the end. So let me invite, I see Dave Carroll said hello to Ted and I. Dave, I'm loving you right now. So
Hi,
Ted, Dave said hi to us. Why don't you jump in and tell me something that you're feeling good about when it comes to automation technology? Why are you feeling hopeful today?
Oh, because the machines are going to be doing a lot of the tasks that we don't like to do. That's what I'm hopeful about. And because, AI is going to augment our brains. See, I forget stuff so easily. Hey, I've got something that's super optimistic. A friend of mine has his daughter. She's 19. She has seizures, and she's had them for a long time, since she was a child. And so she has to take medication, and it really sucks. But now she's going to get an implant into her brain that will send subtle electronic stimuli, and it's trained with AI. So it's going to learn her brain waves, and they get great results. And the hope is she'll be coming off medication completely and act like a normal human being due to a high-tech AI-empowered brain implant. So that's something I'm optimistic about. A young lady with seizures is going to have a normal life and not even have to worry about it. How's that for optimistic?
Amazing how things have progressed. Our ancestors certainly did not experience all these glories of innovation and development.
But look at you, though. We've been cyborgs for a long time. I mean, you've been wearing those glasses, which are a technological innovation that we put on the outside of ourselves to help us be better.
Well, I hear Dan laughing. So how about you, my brother? What's on your mind when it comes to why are you feeling optimistic about the future, and specifically the future of tech and innovation?
Yeah. It's always a great question. I think we touched a little bit on it yesterday, but in my mind, the tech is just the most helpful friend. And I think the strategy is to try to somehow get it to merge with your thought patterns. So the tech that's blowing up in big numbers lately is the AI and all of the assisted information platforms that have come about. And I feel that it's important for us to learn how to use them. And by learn, I mean dive in, because the information that's out there as far as learning this and how to prompt and all of those things, it's good information at base level, but it sort of becomes more convoluted at times. So My suggestion is not to listen to too much of the noise and jump into the deep water yourself.
Dad, what are you feeling optimistic about right now? This is my father, Gary, everybody. Dad, what are you excited about when it comes to the future of things?
Well, good morning, everyone. So I'm just along for the ride. I was just thinking about years ago, not many, where this kind of technology was almost considered science fiction, with the iPhone and how we can now get on the internet, take pictures and shoot them to one another and all this. And now AI is kind of erupting, and I'm just getting acquainted with it and actually using it, because I teach a couple classes and it's helpful. But it's still, I'm still allowed to give my own point of view and my own feeling and drawing from my own heart. But the information that is accumulated in AI has just been wonderfully useful. So I'm good. I'm going along with the adventure, and that's really what it is, and that's how we have to look at it.
Nigel, you're an adventurous man. Let me kick it over to you. Take us on an adventure of the future. What are you envisioning? What are you imagining? What has put a little pep in your step today, my friend?
Democracy. I feel like for the first time in quite some time, probably the last time I remember it so clearly was when the internet first exploded, and everyone had it felt like the same opportunity. And I always equate this to theater, which I love. Growing up in New York and going to see shows on Broadway, the thing that I always loved about it that felt democratic, that felt the right way to be, is that everyone sees the same show. So whether you're you, me, Danny, whoever, you go to see the same show. You could be the president of the United States. If you're going to see Hamilton, you're going to see the same show. And that's how I feel about the way technology in this stage is available to everybody if you take advantage of it. I think there will be plenty of information that will seek to confuse that, distort, distract, obstruct it in some ways. But I think if you stay true to what the technology is and just use it, even in its comparison to Web 2, if you go search something on Google by itself right now, you're going to see ads, you're going to see sponsored links, you're going to see other things. You notice if you do say the same thing on AI, you just get an answer. So you don't have that confusion. So even in that sense, it's more democratized. So I feel super excited about that, just for clarity.
What exactly was the question you were wondering, Dad? I mean, I think that one of the biggest innovations for me that I think about very frequently is, and kind of touching on what Ted was saying earlier, a lot of the brain type things. Humans are kind of becoming a lot like cyborgs now. And I think that really soon it's going to be much more than it's ever been, more like the movies than we've ever thought now. Like people who are blind or aren't able to see properly, eventually I imagine you can get a brain implant and then get synthetic eyes. And with that, you can see in not just the way that we see, but you can see in radio and infrared. And that just feels so crazy for me to think about. And I think things like that are what I'm so excited for.
So my friend Michael Uslan, who owns the license to the Batman franchise, he made all the Batman movies for the last several decades. He was the first person to tell me about what they're doing with eyes. And so this is the last thing I'll leave all of you with, because they're already experimenting, and I imagine it's going to be a normal thing very soon. So what they're doing for eyes, instead of the traditional surgery, LASIK eye surgery, they're sliding in a film behind your eye that lets you zoom in and zoom out with your brain. It lets, when you walk outside, it gets dark like a pair of sunglasses. It lets you change the color of your eye. It can protect you from having the cameras take scans of your eye. So when you think about the future and you think, I want anonymity, I don't want people to take a scan of my eye. You think, I want gold eyes, blue eyes, green eyes. yellow eyes, whatever I want, you can have it. I want it to be dark outside, this tint, this color. I want to be able to zoom in 10x. I want to zoom out wide angle 0.1x. And this is the type of technology that's already being rolled out to people that have the resources and funds to do so. And so to me, this is the idea of where technology is going, right? This is not just about AI and robots and blockchain and this software thing. It's also just about practical things. Like today I wear glasses. I've worn these Gators glasses for all those of you wondering, GATORZ.com. I wear these Gators glasses for 25 years. They have a lens in them that get clear on the inside. They get dark outside. And then I am nearsighted, so I can see clear on a little tiny text on a book, but trees, they kind of look like green to me. I don't see the leaves without the glasses. So I imagine a future where there'll be an affordable option for me to have some sort of lens put in, and that allows me to do all these things at once. And these are the type of things that can really help humanity as we progress toward leveraging technology in a way that can help everyone. And I think that these things have become more and more available, cheaper and cheaper over time. So that is one of my thoughts on the future. We're going to be back again in just a moment with our next segment, which will be based on AI, tools, tricks, ways of using it, very practical, very present. And until then, hope you enjoy our advertising break here at 1340 KOMY, home of Schoolhouse Radio in La Selva Beach, California. Okay, Internet, we're still live with you. So we're going to try this time. What we did the last couple of days is we recorded here as we were trying to figure out what we can and can't do. And when we did that, we were kind of testing out the different programming. When we're here at KOMY, we are live for like 48 minutes and 12 minutes is advertising. And so we're now going to try the process of just going live. We're on my X, LinkedIn, Facebook, and let's see, YouTube, of course. And some of my guests might even be sharing it on their accounts. It looks like we have 17 people watching right now. Hello, party people. Thanks for joining us, giving us your attention. Our radio broadcast is actually one of the largest reaches in all of California. It has a reach of, over 1 million people are within this vicinity that the radio reaches, because we're right here on the sand next to the Pacific Ocean. So it kind of blasts out this enhanced broadcast. So when we do commercial breaks at KOMY, we're just going to kind of chit chat. And then eventually we'll probably start running ads against the live stream. There's 3 businesses that I'm a part of, and many of us that are involved in this have different things we want to promote. We have friends just here in Santa Cruz. I helped my friend Josh launch Steeped Coffee, helped Justice Earl launch the Snap Clip, many other friends that I was involved with some very successful businesses. So I imagine we'll have some of these folks jump in as advertisers. If you're watching and you think, hey, I'd love to take advantage of the attention that Ian and the team are going to build, ping me, let me know. Happy to work something out to focus a little bit of that attention to you, your product, your business. Ted, Nigel, it's time to get going again. All right, everybody.
Let's get going.
Radio.
Baby.
Next break, I'll let somebody else talk.
That's right.
Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk. My name is Ian Utile. I am your host here at KOMY 1340 AM, home of Schoolhouse Radio in La Selva Beach, California. I am here with my son, Malachi.
Hey.
My brother, Dan.
Good day, everyone.
My father, Gary.
Good morning.
And my business partners, Ted Haas.
Hello.
Flexing for the camera. The radio can't hear the flex. And Nigel, who is the gratitude champion. Nigel, let's start with you. We're talking about AI tools. You have always been known to me as the gratitude champion. That's been the nickname that everyone I know that you know that we're mutual friends with has called you. Why are you grateful, not for what's to come, but for what is today? When you look at the way AI is impacting all spheres of society, what is causing you to have that gratitude champion mentality enhanced and expanded?
Well, not to get too spiritual, but I think that anything what we have is created by the Almighty. For me, I believe that, and I think that this is the greatest sign of that. I think just in terms of if you read Scripture or you read anything for that matter, to be able to get it summarized, to be able to put it in a manner that you understand, the way you understand it, I think is so important. I think it allows you to translate and be better communicators ultimately. Because if someone who's a rocket scientist is explaining something to you in their native tech speak or whatever you might call it, but they're explaining to you in a way that you understand, like if you're a builder of homes, like, or you're a mechanic and they explain it to you in those terms, using analogies, using examples, it just makes it a bit more accessible. And I think the conversations become better. And as we communicate better, we're able to exchange ideas. We're able to build and grow bigger and better and more impactful, helpful things. So that's the reason I feel that I have so much to be grateful for, because it gives us another opportunity to connect and to do bigger things than ourselves.
Yeah, let me just piggyback on you there, Nigel. I agree 100% with the AI tools that are actually becoming available, and it's happening so quick that we probably don't even realize how incredibly versatile and how we're probably using them already. For example, like if you just a simple thing of you need to brainstorm for an idea for maybe a good email or possibly draft a social media post, then you'll be able to have more intention, get a little more feel into it, talk to your AI engine, get some feedback, and then enhance your output on however you're doing these things. If you're a storyteller or love movies or something, it'll help you write a short story. All these AI models are here just to help us. It's for perfecting your writing, grammar, helping in schools, and all kinds of other things in that way. Video creation is another aspect that people are using so much with AI in the Mid-Journey, the Dollies, the other options on all AI platforms. But I think as we start to get used to just utilizing them and actually trying to have conversation and text with these platforms, we're going to get such a feedback that it's going to become just like using the cell phone or fingers on glass. It's going to become almost instantaneous and not even a thought process anymore. So I'm excited.
So, Dan, I agree with you that everything is moving so quickly. I'm over 70 and technology is super speed. So I don't feel like I have to try to catch up. It's just beyond me. I'm just, one of the old farts, just taking on what I can that is helpful. And so the basic AI has helped me, and I'm just good with that. It is pretty impressive, though, and fascinating, the things that are happening right before our eyes, just like what Ian was communicating about the different procedures that are going to be available for eyes, and what Malachi talked about inserts in the head and different things. That's just completely amazing. So just along for the ride.
Yeah, for my whole life, I've kind of just been in the age of technology. I don't think I ever knew a time where cell phones didn't look so much like an iPhone. But something that is so much for me is this whole AI thing. I mean, I've known cell phones, but AI is just miles above. It's kind of like the jump from no cell phones to cell phones, in my opinion. And I think that me being a young teenager, I'm the forefront of the people who get the chance to really use this and like integrate it into my life. And so I just hope that I can really push myself to get to the top of that level, learn how to use it, and make sure that it's going to be what it can be.
So when I think about where things are at and where things, not just where they're going or where they've been, where they're at right now, we have to recognize that there's a reason for people to be stressed out about things. You have all these movies and TV shows that are constantly causing us concern about a bad outcome. So like there's unending examples, but if you just take the Mission Impossible series, so number 8 just came out. I personally have really enjoyed the Mission Impossible movies, as incredible Tom Cruise has been telling these stories now for 30 years. The first one came out in 1996. And even back in 1996, we watched the 7 movies over the course of the last month as we kind of, got prepared for number 8, The Final Reckoning. And in that regard, even in 96, Luther was talking about cryptography. Even in 96, he was talking about the significance of cryptography. Many people don't know, but cryptography was a weapon of mass destruction during World War II. The mathematics behind cryptography, which is what decentralization and things like Bitcoin and other blockchain tools, and of course AI would be seen today as a potential weapon of mass destruction. And when you watch these films and you see in like number 7, here's Tom Cruise's character, Ethan Hunt, running through, because that's what Tom does, right? Tom runs. Even his bio says, I've been running in film since 1981. He also does some acting, but mostly that man does running. And
A little bit of jaw clenching.
he does a lot of, if you realize how much he clenches his jaw on the close-ups, you basically can't unsee it.
Oh, man.
So here he is running, and all of a sudden the AI takes over and starts to speak to him in his team's voice. And so when we see these types of stories, these films, these TV shows, and it's not just the super scary Terminators of the world, but it's just like the way it's strung throughout action films, the way it's strung throughout storytelling. And we start to absorb these things. And then we think to ourselves, wow, is this happening in the present moment? Like, is my Facebook feed, is my Instagram feed, is my X feed, my LinkedIn feed, is CNN and Fox or whatever independent news, that source that I turn to, am I seeing the same thing everybody else is seeing? Because it seems to me, this is what people might think to themselves, that the stuff I see either makes me fully enraged and want to go keyboard warrior, or it makes me feel complete joy and elation because I'm only seeing stuff I agree with. And so there's this premise of like, how is AI playing into the narrative of what we see? And so my recommendation is don't take the present fears too seriously. I would like to believe that we will overcome some of these real big concerns. And ultimately, what we want to do is we want to be mindful of the 2 types of prophecy, the 2 types of futurists. There are futurists in the tech world, or prophets in the spiritual world, or whatever you want to call them, intuitive people for all I care. And there's those that tell where the future is going to be based on looking at history. Okay. And then there's the other one where you create the future. So one's foretelling, one's forthtelling. When you create the future, you use your mouth to speak forth what could be, and you put it out into existence. And then people like yourself and others around you start driving toward that potential outcome. Well, oftentimes we've allowed movies and TV to bring us anxiety and tell us what the future is going to be like. And what I want to encourage everyone is, I want to encourage everyone to think about, well, maybe we should be speaking forth an outcome we want. And as we speak forth an outcome we want, we start to train ourselves to drive toward that. We start to train other people around us to drive toward that potential outcome. And so that is my thought as we hit the middle of our show. We'll be back in a
Wow.
few minutes here at Beachside Tech Talk, 1340 AM, KOMY, LaSalle Beach, California. All right. So
Dave Carroll said it
we're
sounds
still on with the
silly.
internet.
Sweet.
Brother Dan, say hi to all the party people.
Hi, party people. These are not my ears. Let me just take those off. Good day to you. Love being here.
Yes.
Send a message. Is there a way to?
They can post it on any of the.
Yeah, this is our third day. So anybody listening, if you can, just even throw a hand. Throw a hand to us. Say hi. Even
Well, Dave
without a
Carroll
word.
said hi.
Do a wave.
He said, it sounds silly, but I do a comedy podcast and I love AI finding funny stories that we can riff about. I'm a simple pleasure guy.
That's so cool. This is a comedy.
Dave Carroll, I want you to post something funny.
Yeah,
from
that's what we
AI.
wanted
All
to
you
be.
gotta do is look at the screen right there. It's hilarious.
How you enjoying it, son? This is day number 3.
I'm loving it. It's been cool. It's like so much is going on when you look at it, but then I realized that we're all just
You might be
6
one of the
people having
youngest
fun.
people on-
Probably,
on
actually,
radio at that time. Only other people that might be doing what you're doing right now is possibly someone in some
I mean, there's a lot of live stream
some
like
paid-
gamers.
or paid schools and things like that. I think
Yeah.
all high schools should have
They should.
because of
Well,
what
that's
because
what
of
this
what's
is.
available.
Oh,
Schoolhouse Radio.
Every
there's a-
high school should have a class where they're actually available to do this type of live stream.
There's a podcasting
instant
class
feedback,
at my old school.
things like that. Hi, Nigel.
Hello. How are you?
Good to see you, bro. I just talked to you earlier, but how we living and breathing today?
As we live and breathe, that's all it is.
But how are we?
I just
doing?
am.
Well, I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down, right in the middle.
Listen, it's always thumbs up. I
Okay.
just don't think we even take enough time to acknowledge that we're even breathing at all.
Can you
So-
put both of them up?
Like Lark, like Lark. So you get
Don't
the
sit on the like button, everybody.
Ouch.
Public service announcement.
Ouch.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
don't sit
Dad,
on the light bulb.
How are you enjoying the first half hour?
That was good.
Along for the ride.
Yeah, along for the ride.
That's good.
That's why you surf so much.
Yeah.
Along for the ride. Have you been able to get up to the nose on this thing? You feel like you're comfortable?
Oh, no.
Put
I don't
5
think
toes
so.
over on that thing?
I'm the old guy. Just my opinion is ancient. And I'm not the
Thank you so
sharpest tool
much.
in the shed.
I think you're the sharpest tool in the shed.
Oh, no. You got a good edge on you still. What are you
I
talking
think
about?
you're made of the most strong material there is.
Put 50 guys at 73 years old into a room,
Yeah.
and then you're going to get one hand of an outcome of what you'd like to hang out with or someone have a conversation with. Some of them, half of them, 25, aren't even able to walk anymore.
Okay, everybody. Internet, we're back on the live radio. We'll be back again with our next segment in a moment to chit chat with all of you. Welcome to Beachside Tech Talks. This is Ian Utile. I am your host here at 1340 AM KOMY, and we're based out of LaSalle Beach, California. I got Nigel on the East Coast. Nigel, say hi to all of the people on the radio and the folks watching us on the World Wide Web.
What's up? From the East Coast, sunny Florida. Great to be here.
Now, you're originally from the northern East Coast.
That's right.
When
Brooklyn,
we talk
baby.
when we talk about blockchain, one of the advantages to blockchain presently, and I want you to get ready to talk a bit about your experience on 9/11, if you don't mind. One of the advantages of blockchain is when we play this out over the course of the next decade, most of the conspiracy theories, and hey, let's all admit, men conspire, so do women. One of the issues is conspiracy theories can sometimes be hard to prove. But with blockchain, things will be immutable, trustworthy, proven. It might erode some of our freedom. Maybe that's a bummer, but it should provide a certain level of security. There are very few things that have been accused of conspiracy like 9/11. And one thing that's lost as people try to prove this or that, or what the government did, or what this person or these people did, is they lose the humanity of thousands of lives being lost. And you were there, you were present for that moment. And maybe you could share with us a bit about your experience as you were living in that area. And then maybe you could tie that to the desire for the truth to be told. Maybe we can't fix everything in the past, but as we face new crises for humanity, we should long for the truth to be told and understood. And one of the ways we can do that is through these decentralized distributed ledgers. So Nigel, I'm gonna kick it over to you and share whatever you think is something that you'd like to share with the folks on the radio and the live stream.
Yeah, 9/11. That's a heavy topic, but being a New Yorker, born and raised in Brooklyn, it hits home. I think there is convenient truth and there's transparent reality, and I think what blockchain does is it gets us closer to that transparency, closer to that clarity. When we silo anything, thinking in the echo chamber of our own heads, just us having this conversation together, sharing different perspectives and being open to that possibility is a form of, to me, the transparent reality beyond just the convenient truth. So when you think about being able to tick and tie and verify all the boxes that go along with not just financial transactions, but with anything, any sort of information being provided, because if we may still make the same decisions, but if we're making an informed decision, we're coming from a better place. So when all the boxes are checked, everything can be looked at, it's public, you can see it. It makes things a lot easier for people to feel more comfortable, I think, to doing things, being more open, because I think a lot of times, growing up in New York, I was very guarded a lot of the time. So I think that resonates a lot. And to your point about the humanity piece of it, I think that this is also going to give us the opportunity to see that humanity is important, because as much as we saw the destruction and death, sadly, I did see many people come together. I did see a city come together. I did see people, reaching out and checking on one another. So that's important. It's an important thing.
We had a similar thing here in the Bay Area, 1989, the Battle of the Bay, the Oakland A's, the San Francisco Giants were in the midst of the World Series.
I thought you were going to talk about like the earthquake or something.
That's the earthquake.
No.
Oh yeah, we got to start with baseball. You can't get to the earthquake without baseball.
Oh, okay.
And in the midst of the World Series, the great 89 earthquake, October, I think 10th or 6th at 5:08 p.m. It's seared in my memory. And that was not a terrorist attack. It was certainly, there's not any conspiracy theories around an earthquake, but it was a disaster that caused those of us here in the Santa Cruz County and beyond, all throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, it caused us to come together. There were gas stations that were giving out free water and free gas because the registers wouldn't work, and it was a community thing. And I know that also happened there in the Manhattan area and beyond. Dad, I remember when 9/11 happened. I was working for you as a carpenter. I was almost a terrible journeyman, and I was a pretty good apprentice. I was like on the bridge of good apprentice to terrible journeyman as a carpenter at that point. And I remember my friend called me and said, "America's under attack. America's under attack. America's under attack." And I turn on the TV, and like the building, right when I turn the TV on, one of the buildings falls. And then I run to you and Mom, and I'm like, "America's under attack. America's under attack." And what a wild experience that was. And so you have experienced locally the earthquake as you were about my age when that happened. And you've experienced from a distance, America being under attack. What are your thoughts in terms of the desire or need for transparency, authenticity, honesty, the truth to be known, no matter how hard it might be to hear? What are your thoughts on that, Dad?
Yeah, well, you both have experienced that when a community goes through a devastation like that, people will come together. And a lot of times it will make them more aware of their spirituality. And, people started going to church, started reading the Bible, started, opening up to spirituality because of just the unseen and unknown, not having control of what was going on. I remember when you ran into the room and your mom and I were in bed. Normally you had to knock, to prepare us just in case we're exercising. But you ran in and saying America's under attack, and so we all watched TV under shock and getting angry, at what was happening at that time. And then the earthquake was really funny. We were building our first house in the area, and I just had raised second-story walls. I was up laying it out for ceiling joists, and it hit. I had put the stairs in going down to the garage, which was a lower elevation, and you guys ran outside, and you just kept running down the street as it was rolling like waves. Right. The cars were hopping, catching air. So, and it sounded like a train was coming up the street with a veneer on the side of houses falling off, windows breaking. So it was quite an ordeal. Then once that finished, 5 minutes later, we had another one, right. A big shaker. So that was quite an experience. I enjoyed it somewhat.
It was like a free roller coaster.
Yeah, it was. I was hooping and hollering for the first 10 seconds. And then I started getting worried I was upstairs on what window I was going to jump out of because it felt like the building was going to collapse.
Yeah. I'm trying to just think of how I can tie blockchain into 9/11 incident. Maybe I wish we had it back then. Maybe that would have been helpful at some of the airports or some of the registration documentation that had gone through on that day. Briefly for me on that day, I was actually working with Gary at Andy Van Valer's property. And I think I took the day off because I was a little dysfunctional in the fact that what is really going on right now. I think everybody at that day, if you were around to remember, it was just a shock and awe and a very visceral thing. And I think that while it happened those first few hours, it was kind of a thing of denial. Like it was literally something I can't believe what my eyes are seeing. And is this really happening? And are thousands of people actually perishing, instantaneously, fellow Americans that were just honestly working that day. But we have, I believe we've rallied since then, also never to forget that day. So we need to put it in our minds as memorial all the time, that none of us are 100% protected. Cherish those that are around us and always try to do better. So thank you.
Some of the things I'm encouraged about, like I have a good friend of mine, Adam Peacock, who's working up in based in Santa Rosa, and he works with the community there. He builds relationships, and he's particularly with the faith community, with the desire to encourage them to serve their community. And he started this and launched this just before the big fires, I think in 2017 or something, or maybe 2014, up in the Santa Rosa fires. There was a series of them that kept getting worse year after year. And they were, it's again, tech tools that can combine to help people, organize people. But because of the unity of the faith community up there, and Adam was a huge part of that, the faith community became the primary deliverers of the last mile of services. So, like relief goods and everything came in, but many of the different churches opened up their parking lots for people to, to be refugee centers, and their spaces to be distribution centers. And, it's a massive issue, and people are, losing everything coming in. And then they were the ones that handed out the goods, the water, the food. And the upside of it is it really brought the community together. And I think the community there is much stronger than it was before. Now they've developed that as a prototype. They're working now with communities all across the Bay Area to put together a plan in the case of a disaster. And technology is informing that. I know they were down in LA and he was down there, and they're using what they learned out of Santa Rosa to help LA. And, it's exciting to see how tech can help
We'll be
people
right back.
come together.
So everyone on the internet,
That could be a smoother.
the only thing that is more true than me enjoying listening to Ted is Ted enjoying talking.
Or a good nap.
Or a good nap.
A good nap is good.
Or to dunk on someone.
I do that all the time.
That is pretty good.
He likes assists
Is he?
and rebounds as well.
I use a football when I dunk.
I've never seen him play.
So Ted, you gotta for everyone on the internet, just so you know how we're trying to manage radio and the internet at the same time. So Ted and Nigel, when you guys are talking, you got to make sure you're not full screen on yourself. I know you're beautiful, but that way when I do the wrap it up, baby, the music's playing, the music's rolling, they're gonna shut us down, that we can make a nice little transition.
You gave the signal that I didn't see. That's because I was trying to look at the camera so the people on the internet, I could be
man, they
making
love
eye
looking at your eyes,
contact.
bro.
Because
They love
unfortunately, the
people on
the camera. See
crave
there, I'm
eye
pointing to my
contact with
camera
you.
right
They
there.
crave it.
See how much higher that is? I need to lift my computer up so I can see both of you. Here, there you go.
Or maybe just keep the radio station in one ear, so that way you can hear the doot to doot doot music. Nigel, anything you want to say to the party people on the internet before we go live again?
Here's a basketball reference that I don't think technology helped with. So Ted might appreciate this. I think technology has made it so that you can't break a backboard anymore, because it was something about Daryl Dawkins breaking a backboard.
Whatever happened to those days?
Yeah, it's just better.
They changed everything for him, and then they made it one. They made it so you couldn't break the backboards. They broke the whole thing. Then they pretty much made it that you can't break it. Yeah, if Shaq can't break it, you have to be a 400.
Played basketball, but what he really did was he broke backboards.
Charles Barkley.
We're going back.
I think he broke a backboard.
Welcome to the Beachside Tech Talk. And Ted is singing Wrap It Up and some other things. Ted, we love your voice, dude. Don't keep it in the shower. Bring it on the radio.
Yeah.
And we're here at KOMY, 1340 a.m. And we're starting to get loose, starting to feel more comfy as a team of 6. We got a half dozen minds and voices to talk about technology here at the home of Schoolhouse Radio in La Selva Beach, California. Also live streaming to the internet through my Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X accounts. Have received a few comments. We've been enjoying that. I accidentally posted a private message telling Ted to wrap it up, which is why he's singing the Wrap It Up song. But I posted that on the internet, on their comments, because I was in the wrong section. But that's all right. We don't need to do anything perfect here. We're trying to manage a few things at once. But I'm a local here in Santa Cruz County. In fact, we have been local. Our family's been local here for 250 years. So Malachi, my son, my brother Dan, myself, all of us on my mother's side are part of the Moraga Pacheco dynasty. They were a big deal in the 19th century. They, in many regards, had most of the internet. Didn't know about them because they didn't exist, but most of the state, was influenced by the Moraga and Pacheco families. And so we have a long-term, family stories. And right now it's all about stories. But on my dad's side, his family's been here for 4 or 5 generations. And so, and now him being a grandfather, he looks back to his grandparents, great-grandparents that came in to the East Coast from Italy and abroad, and then made it over here. His parents and even the older generation made it over here to the Bay Area. And now he's raised me and my brother, and now his grandkids here. And so, Dad, I want to kick it over to you and have you share a bit about, just looking at the history of your family and Mom's family. Your family's been here for almost 100 years now. Mom's family's been here for 250 years. And what your thoughts are on our ancestors and us providing a legacy to our ancestors, us being inspired by our ancestors, right? Lieutenant Moraga on Mom's side founded the city of San Jose. He created the Presidio in San Francisco. Anybody that's alive today have ancestors that were slave masters and slaves, that were kings and peasants. You just have to go back far enough and you're going to find every kind of trial and trauma and success and victory across our ancestors. But Dad, when you look at those that have come before us and you think about just even the impact here in California, what comes to mind for you? What inspires you?
Wow. Okay. So I have,
It's a lot to chew on right there, huh?
I'm not only Italian, my ancestors are from Sicily, but I do have some Jewish blood on my mom's side. So I'm proud to say that I'm also part Jewish.
Can I borrow some money?
Yeah. That's funny.
No, I'm serious.
But I'm not, I haven't really given it that much thought. As we grow and walk this life as an adventure, things are changing before us. Things are much easier than what our ancestors had to go through just to accumulate goods and put a roof over their head. You go way back, they had to really provide for themselves with food, and it was work, work, work all the time. We have a lot of leisure time, which we have to be careful of, in these days. And I guess that's AI is bringing that and all the new technology to us. So we don't want to get lazy and fat and be couch potatoes either. We want to get out there and live even as we age. We can't cast heavy goals that we can't achieve either as we age, but light goals are great, things that can be achieved. And so we can live a full life right to the end. No one dies in good health. So you have to live what you have and go through the bumps and everything. I'm going through something now with my foot. We have a wonderful swell coming into Santa Cruz and I'm missing it. And it's killing me, so to speak, because I like to get out in the water. It's one of my first loves. But I do love other things. And one is, being a follower of Jesus Christ. That is another thing that I take very seriously too, and has really enhanced my life. So that's about it.
I feel like whenever it gets to me, you guys are always talking about the past and how it compares to now. And I'm like, well, I haven't been around that long. So I think that a lot of the things that have happened in the past relate to now so much. It's like that really frequent saying that you hear about how I think it's like history repeats itself, or like the present happens from the past. And I feel like that is so true. I mean, even when you have things like new technology, it's just the old technology, but coming in a different way, in my opinion. I mean, AI is a thinking machine. And we think. So that's a pretty good parallel right there. There's so many things like that I think compare very well.
Well, let me just say from my thoughts of the past, I'm just going to stay locally here and talk about maybe this county and how many things have changed just in the last 20, 30 years since tech has evolved. Silicon Valley grew so much. Lots of money has come through this particular part of California. Remember when I was younger and avidly surfing in my late teens and early 20s, it was, a lot less populated, but considered sort of sand flea-ish and kind of gritty, not dirty, but you know, there was all of the things that you see now, this new construction and all of the things are remodeled. Everything looks sort of new. It's constantly being rebuilt. But I miss the nostalgicness of just the old Giant Dipper days, getting the corn dog on the boardwalk, not having to worry about parking somewhere. But yeah, I'm thrilled about how this particular county is not knowing it. Maybe we take it a little bit for granted too. We're so sheltered here, you know. We're in this little cove section of this small demographic of a few square miles from here to Monterey, and we're sheltered from one side is ocean, and another side right here is the mountains. So it's just great to know that we have a community here that's available to reach out, extend hands, and always give smiles and help each other out.
Yeah.
Well,
What do you think, Ian?
I think I want to hear Nigel and Ted talk. So, Ted, jump on in and share your thoughts, my friend, because I gotta make sure I bring you in before the top of the hour, because otherwise, we're gonna have you talk right into the end of the show.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited about how technology has evolved to help me do stuff that has nothing to do with technology. You know, like relating with your dad, I've got tendonitis in my right Achilles, and it's killing me. And so I'm in the process of rehabilitating that so I can get back on the court and, you know, pursue my dream of dunking on people again. But with the way technology is advanced, what's really cool is, you know, I can ask AI and it can tell me, it can explain what tendonitis is. I can just jump on the internet and find, you know, all these different tools. I can get lots of different perspectives on it, and helps me educate how to address it. Where I go back to the time when I was in college and when I was playing professionally, you know, back 30 years ago, that wasn't available, and rehab was harder. So that's pretty cool how we've advanced.
Have you AI'd any prompts or inquiries regarding basketball, Ted? I know you spent a lot
You
of
know,
time with your San Quentin basketball.
I have not asked AI about how to play basketball better. I did ask it about
That's
tendonitis.
unnecessary.
It explained it to me. Maybe I should ask it to teach me how to play basketball better. It'll
Or
probably
have it
refer me to YouTube videos.
It might even come up with some of your own self-biographical stuff, you know, overseas. You might be able to find some good footage of yourself somewhere.
Yeah. It'll cite me as the
I'll be
expert. Just
dunking on
follow this guy. Search down this guy, Ted Haas, and he'll show you how to play basketball.
There you go. I agree.
I think Ted on his computer, he hasn't shown it to anybody yet, but he has like private AI videos of him dunking on every spiritual leader, every political leader. I just see him like dunking on the Pope, dunking on Putin.
Well, in order
There
to dunk
you
on
go.
In the
you gotta
past, he'll
take-
dunk on George Washington and Churchill, Wilt Chamberlain. He doesn't care, dude. He uses AI for his own pleasure.
Putin only plays for the
That's all I do. I just doom
Yeah,
scroll
shirtless.
scroll
Putin owns the shirt.
videos of me.
I want to ride
dunking
horses
on-
with Putin. I gotta say, me and Putin, 2 horses, no shirts. Nigel, jump in. Talk with
Yeah,
us, my friend.
you got Ian. You're there plugging the next
wanna see the
NFT
YouTube
collection
video of that.
of Ted and his dunking on leaders. I think that'll come up. What I found is interesting is that I was rewatching the series Suits, and it showed the Empire State Building where I had one of my first jobs as a messenger, a foot messenger. This is long before email, and I think about how far we've come technology-wise. I remember watching bike messengers race, you know, pick up packages, go to the courtroom, and now that's a thing that just doesn't even exist anymore. And I feel like it's helpful to see that how far we've come, and because it also helps us to stay present and become more focused on what we are capable of doing now compared to what we could do before. So I think that's the takeaway I got.
Awesome.
Friends, thank you for joining us. Beachside Tech Talk. here at KOMY 1340, home of Schoolhouse Radio in LaSalle Beach, California. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yay.
All right, internet friends, that was the real deal. You got to see a bit more of what it's like for us behind the scenes. We'll get better and better at live streaming this stuff. Obviously, serving the local community is one thing we want to do, but the other thing we want to do is we want to reach the global audience. I have not been consistent with posting content over my last 15 years. But I have a lot of amazing friends and partners like Ted and Nigel, and incredible family like Malachi and my dad and Danny. And so this is kind of the beginning to see where this goes. We've committed to a 2-month trial with KOMY to jump in here every day this week. We'll take a week off. We'll do another week, take a couple weeks off as I'm traveling next week to Asia. And then the following, toward the end of the month, we'll be in New York as a family for our NFT NYC event. And then we'll be over in Big Sur, a little camping trip, the end of June, early July. Then we'll be back in here for 4 weeks in a row. At that point, we will then decide if this is the right format. Should it be daily? Should it be an hour? Should it be this time? And how are we doing when it comes to the stuff that we have rocking and rolling on the live stream? So please post a public comment, DM me, let me know your feedback. We want to try and create something that is really enjoyable for everyone, and ultimately something that can consistently build upon the dependability that we're going live at the same time. So this is our first day trying going live. Obviously, yesterday we posted the first 2 days, which was pre-recorded. We tried the idea that our producer had, which I think was great, which was, hey, when they go to commercial at the radio, like, let's just have fun and talk a little bit. I think that was a nice thing. So I guess we can wrap this up, end the live. Anybody want to say anything? Ted, Nigel, that's not just a helicopter, Ted. That means wrap this baby up. Land the plane. It's running up.
How am I supposed to know if you don't tell me ahead of time? This means wrap it up. I thought this meant keep going. Keep going. One more track around. Come on, Ted.
Come on, Ted.
You're
full of it. Come on. That is not true.
That is not true.
You are not being honest.
Keep
The
going.
first time you've ever spoke on a
time,
microphone or a video. I know. Your first try.
Those signs
thought
are
that
not
and when the
universal.
hook comes out and grabs you by the neck, you thought that meant stay on stage, not get out of. Okay, yeah.
No, I
got
thought
you.
this meant cut.
That meant happy good
and this
Wednesday
meant
to you.
keep going.
Right.
That was not my problem in this case. This case is that I was trying to make eye contact with my lovely people who are watching the live stream, because those are the 35 people that I really care about, not those who are only
That makes
tuning
me
in
feel
by
better.
ear. And I didn't see Ian's signals, but that does open a very true story of when I did that on stage at NFT NYC, where she was saying, wrap it up. And I thought, because the other signal, to continue was continue.
You always think, oh, good, they're giving me the sign. They love what I'm saying right now.
There you go.
Okay, Malachi, any final thoughts for the party people on the internet?
That was really fun. I feel like we actually did way better today.
You say that every day.
Well, I thought
That
it
is
improved
true, though.
3 days in a row.
That's a truth.
This is my son.
Saying it every day
This is my
really
true.
makes it
son
true.
would think everything
I think it's
gets
only going to
better
go
all the
up
time.
too.
Guess what
It's only
tomorrow's
going to get better.
The best day of our life.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
obviously. Come on. You knew that.
Well, we set a good baseline on
We
day
love you
one,
for that.
Yes.
so there's nowhere to go but up.
Nigel, any final words for the internet?
We need a gif of the Sandman from the Apollo to get people off, so you could just
Yeah, the Sandman. That's who it was, bro. Nice call. That's what I meant to say. Hey, if anyone out there has any questions or any suggestions or anything they'd like to talk about or hear us talk about tomorrow, that also helps us out too. You're part of the community just like we are, and we're kind of figuring things out. And without any feedback or response, we'll kind of feel like we're just handshaking ourselves.
Yep.
So.
Well, as we wrap up, Grim, I'm going to ask my dad to do one thing, and then you can end the live stream. So, Dad, one of the things that's been lost in our society is an elder blessing people. So why don't you bless everyone that's watching us live or people that watch this archive later? Just end it with a blessing, and then we'll end the live stream and be on our way.
Okay. First of all, thank you for those that are listening and watching. We appreciate it. It's a blessing being here and, entertaining you, hopefully. So as for a blessing, Lord, let me just say a little prayer. We just ask you, Father, to just bless those that are listening and watching, and for our group here. We just thank you for the clarity and the fun of just sharing stories and ideas. And we just praise you and give all the credit and glory to Jesus Christ, our lovely Savior. Amen.
Yay.
Amen.
Till next time, friends.
Let's hang out tomorrow for sure. 100%.
Same time tomorrow. Bye, everybody.